Hello there, welcome to today's video. Today we're going to give you my review of Am I Racist by Matt Walsh. I did make a somewhat conservative video previously about The War on Conservatives, a book by Mark Dice. I was a little wishy-washy with my comments and feedback because I was afraid of losing my job. There's still that fear, really, among me, but I'm going to try to be a little bit more to the point with my thoughts and actually be honest with you. And just let the whole work thing figure out itself. There's stuff happening at work anyways, unrelated, so I don't know, we'll see. But I wanted to give a full and honest review because Am I Racist by Matt Walsh. So I've been a subscriber, I guess you could say I'm the Sweet Baby Gang of Matt Walsh. I've been watching his videos. I watch Daily Wire content, so mainly I watch Matt Walsh, Ben Shapiro, and oh goodness, I can't even remember his name. This is terrible. Regardless, Michael Knowles. That's who I was thinking of. So those are the three main Daily Wire people I watch. I don't subscribe to the Daily Wire Plus, though I'd like to at some point maybe. They always talk about how it's ad-free, and I'm like, yeah, but you probably still do your ad reads, and I don't get ads on YouTube because I subscribe to YouTube Premium or whatever it's called these days. So I'm not too worried about the ads. I just kind of watch their YouTube content. So I guess you could say I am a fan of the Daily Wire. It's interesting hearing things from like Mark Dice. He is very openly, I wouldn't say against, but he has some problems with the Daily Wire that he's brought up. And, it is something that makes you think, the whole thing with Candace Owens, what really happened behind the scenes. But regardless, I do want to talk about the movie, and I want to focus on the movie. Personally, the movie, I was a little apprehensive of going, and the reasons would be different than some people. The reason I was apprehensive is because I saw the trailers. The trailers looked good. The concept sounded good. But I thought one of two things was going to happen. I thought either it would be boring because it's letting, these far leftist people talk and, just go on these rampages about, the racist Republicans, racist white people. And I thought, it could be kind of boring, or number two, it could make me angry. And, I don't really want to go to a movie to get angry. That's just not really my cup of tea. But I dragged my dad into it and was like, no, let's go ahead and see it. I want to support Matt Walsh and what he's doing. I've still not seen What Is a Woman. That's one of the main reasons I'd want to subscribe to the Daily Wire, is to see that movie. I've not been able to see that yet. But Am I Racist? So it came out, I think September 13th, maybe. Yeah, September 13th it came out. It actually did pretty good at the box office. Domestic opening was $4.5 million. I heard, though I don't know where this is verified, but I heard it had a budget of $3 million. And right now it's made $6.4 million. So it's not like a mainstream movie. It's not getting a ton of traction with, reviewers and things of that nature, which is part of the reason I decided to do a reaction video or talk about it. So my fears were, being bored and all of that. And when I got to the theater, we watched it. I was surprised first and foremost that the ads before the movie, like, there were mainstream movie trailer ads before the movie. I thought maybe that, the leftist regime would boycott this movie and not want to put any ads out there. But I guess they still wanted people to see their new movies coming out. And so they either didn't know what the movie was about or they didn't care. But to give you a little bit of taste, it starts off actually with him as a DEI expert. And shows him this was in the trailer, so I don't mind talking about it because I don't want to give too many spoilers. I just want to clear the room and let you know you should go see this on your own if it's playing near you. It's definitely worth seeing. It's definitely worth the money. But it starts off, him as a DEI expert, and then it backs up and shows how he became a DEI expert, and basically it's a storyline of his journey learning about DEI and diversity, equity, and inclusion, and learning about why it's important, and interviewing different people. He did interview some people that I would consider, quote unquote leftists, but he also interviewed people that were probably more leaning on the right. He at one point went to some biker bar in the South. He traveled around for this. He went to DC, tried to get people to change the George Washington monument to George Floyd monument. And unfortunately, and kind of discouragingly, a lot of people were willing to sign that. I mean, I guess what do you expect when you're in DC? But it's just unfortunate that there are people that don't fully grasp what happened with George Floyd, and they still are running on a narrative, that he was murdered in the street. Yeah. But regardless, the movie itself, one thing that is interesting, some of the folks he interviewed, just the things they were saying, the one quote that really hit me: Republicans are all Nazis. This was from when they had there's these two gals that do like, I don't know what you call it, but it's a dinner that you go to if you're a white woman and talk about how you're a terrible person. But it's interesting too, the majority of people that he interviewed that are DEI experts, so to speak, or are involved in this, for one, it's very clear they're in it for the money. They're trying to make a quick buck. They're in the trend of the days. Because DEI, I mean, it's all involved. It's all over the place. It's, you almost can't work a job without having to go to some sort of DEI training. And the interesting thing, too, they talk about how America is inherently racist. And if you're white, you're racist. And if you don't admit you're racist, you're even more racist. And it's just crazy, because I'm not racist. I don't feel like I have to give a reason as to why I'm not, and I'm not going to. But I just know for a fact that I'm not a racist person. And their arguments is, if you're white, you are racist, and you need to be opened up to your eyes about, what your ancestors have done and what you do, and it's all subconsciously that you're racist and stuff. It's just very triggering and infuriating that there are people out in this world that believe that, and like genuinely believe it. I feel like some of the people that are doing it, writing books about it, making money, doing interviews, I think they're mainly doing it for the money. There was the one woman that claimed that her children were looked over in a Sesame Street parade. She charged Matt Walsh $50,000 for an interview. That is a spoiler, but I think it's an interesting thing to discuss. $50,000 to sit down and talk with Matt Walsh. And now you tell me, like, I can understand, I couldn't really understand, but if she made the claim of, oh, it's too horrible to talk about, I don't want to discuss this or whatever, but the funny thing is, she had a price tag. Like, everybody was like willing to put themselves on the record saying these terrible things for money, and so it just really showcases how DEI in general, the industry, they're there to make money, and it's just crazy. It's crazy, the world we live in. I mean, specifically in the United States of America. I'm sure some of this stuff, leaks over to other countries. I'm not from the other countries, so I don't know. I know Europe's been having some major issues, specifically with free speech and things of that nature. But back to the lady. So she charged $50,000 to have an interview to talk about the Sesame Street characters. What happened was, and there is a video of it, the kids are all very excited and they're waving, wanting high fives for the Sesame Street character. And the Sesame Street character just ignores both of their kids. And the thing with those costumes, I've never been in one of those. Well, no, I've been in costumes before. I've done more like I used to work at like Halloween scary parks or whatever, but I've been in costumes before. You can't always see everything, and if you're wearing a mask, depending on where the eyes are located, you might not be able to see directly below you. You might only be able to see kind of the side. It very obviously and very easily they could have accidentally messed over her children. And she just immediately jumped on the fact that whoever was in that costume is racist. And it's just sad that we live in a world where you just all the time, like, everybody just says you're racist. I had issues when I was working in jail where I would get written up. It's called grievances. And they would fill out grievances on me because they didn't like that I was enforcing the rules. And they wanted to get me fired. And so they would say that I was calling them the N-word, which is not a word I call people. And it was just interesting, to deal with that where, I kept getting pulled into the office with all these higher ups at the jail, asking me if I was using that kind of language and just trying to catch me in a lie or get me in trouble. When reality was I didn't do it and I wasn't going to do it. And I don't name call, especially not, inmates. Like, they've got stuff going on, and I'm not an inmate. Like, I'm not there to make their life easier, but I'm also not there to make their life harder. And obviously I don't work in jail anymore, but it's just sad, the world we live in, where you just immediately jump to everybody else is racist. Everybody's against me. Everybody's coming for me. It's just unfortunate. So to get back to the movie, though, Matt Walsh, so he starts this journey, and he decides if he's going to go on this journey, he has to look like a DEI expert. So he has this character. He wears a wig. He wears clothing that looks a little more, I don't know, sissy boy. I don't know what you'd call it, but he has this vibe and look to him that he doesn't look like a conservative podcast, right? And it's funny to see him because I know Matt Walsh, obviously not personally, but I know him enough by his videos and stuff to know that he is super sarcastic. And so a lot of the things he's saying, you can just tell he's saying like with the sincerest sarcasm, but the people he's talking to don't pick up on it, and they're treating it like he's being well-meaning and actually asking the questions. It's very funny. It is meant to be a comedy, but it also does a good job of really blowing the door off the handle, or whatever it's called, blowing the door off the wall, opening and showing us what's really going on. I think the main takeaways was those price tags and the fact that for whatever reason they're really trying to push the agenda that everyone, specifically if you're white, but everybody is racist, everybody is against you, everybody's evil. And it's just unfortunate that that's the world that we live in right now, and that's the narrative that's going, because it's not true. It's not a true narrative, and it's unfortunately ones that's profitable, and it's ones that's being pushed, and all the corporations, not all of them, but the majority of the corporations have really jumped on this bandwagon and have started doing their own versions of it, and it's just unfortunate. I do want to make the caveat, because I've actually talked to my wife about this a little bit, and I'll say like, I hate DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion, but what I mean by that is not that I hate diversity. I don't hate equity. I do. Equity I don't like, but I don't mind inclusion. I don't mind diversity. I don't have problems with these things. The issue is that they're pushing for that so much, where there are jobs that will hire people that are diverse over people that have the actual degree or the experience in that field, because you're not bringing the diversity to the table that they want. And I've seen this with jobs where I've applied. They always ask that little thing, And you don't have to share, supposedly, but they ask, what color you are. I always say I'm white, male. I don't mind sharing. It's not a secret. The moment you come in contact with me, I'm a white male, or you should know. But jobs are always asking those questions, and I believe part of those reasons they're asking those questions is because they want, or they're being told by somebody above, that they need to have a certain percentage of different people of color, either, brown, black, or, any of the different races. They basically want a higher majority of them than they do white people. And it's very interesting too, because, to me, diversity would include white people. Like, if you're going to have a diverse group of people, you would need to have some white in there too. Otherwise, it's not diversity. Like, there's not a group of diverse people. It's just specifically minorities. And it makes me frustrated to talk about this kind of stuff. But basically, with the movie, it shows the true colors of the DEI experts and that whole thing, and he does a great job with it. And yeah, I mean, I know I rambled on. I didn't necessarily talk specifics about the movie. I didn't want to give too many spoilers, but it is worth seeing. It is not boring. It is enjoyable. To give a little bit of or a little bit of feedback, there were a couple scenes that I felt dragged on a little bit, and it was more for the fact that Matt wasn't speaking in those scenes. He wasn't necessarily involved. A good example is the one, I think the lady charged $30,000 to have a sit-down conversation with her and a bunch of white people, and talking about how she specifically said she puts herself in danger to be in a group of her and white people. and she claims she's doing it because it's important for her to do. Reality, she's doing it for a hefty paycheck. And if she truly believes she's in danger, I don't think she would be putting herself in that situation. Like, I really don't believe that. But that scene kind of dragged on for a while. The parts that Matt was speaking was good, and he tried to kind of chime in and interrupt a little bit, but that of course got him in trouble. So a couple scenes I was like, man, you could have cut this down a little bit, and the main reason is I was just tired of hearing the narrative. I know what the left, or not even so much the left, because not everybody on the left is DI heavy. A lot of them are, but there's people from there's conservatives, there's liberals, there's a little bit of everybody, and not everybody is shoving this agenda down our throats. But the people at the top are being the loudest about it. Different groups are really pushing for that, and then the companies are just eating it up, and people are making a lot of money teaching other people how to be better humans and not be racist, or admit that you're racist. And it's just a joke to me. Like, it's sad. It's really sad, but it's the world we live in, and it's what we've become. The only way to really change things is I don't know. One thing is speaking about it. Part of the reason I've been careful with what I say in the past is also because YouTube shadow bans people. They, if you're saying something that they don't appreciate, they either won't push it out for other people to watch, they'll just kind of shadow ban your channel where people can't really find it. I've seen it happen to other YouTubers. In fact, there have been YouTubers in the past I used to watch that were conservative YouTubers who just disappeared. All of a sudden, they're no longer on YouTube. And, us having a channel with over 1,800 subscribers, I felt like we've really worked and pushed our way up to this point, and I'd hate to see it just disappear. It would be very unfortunate. But I think the fact that we do make videos, we do make all kinds of variety content, I think I should have a voice, and I should come out and say things. And this was a good a good caveat to get into that, to talk about the movie. If you haven't seen this movie, I highly recommend it. Doesn't matter what race you are. I think it's a great movie. Yeah, it's important, and you can learn from it, and see the kind of people that are into this DEI experts, so to speak. But you also have a lot of fun with it. The theater I went to, it was a very late showing on a Friday night. There was only a handful of people in there, and one person stayed for about half the movie, and then she left in the middle of it. So I don't know if my joke to my father was, I guess she's racist, Obviously I was kidding, but I don't know why you'd go to a movie and then leave halfway through it. I thought it was really good. I didn't think there was any reason to leave during the movie. I think it was an hour and 44 minutes, but I think that was the run time. Do stay through the credits at the end. There's a funny scene at the end. But yeah, definitely worth seeing. As far as rating goes, it's kind of hard to rate because it's kind of in a vein of its own. It wasn't really a documentary. It wasn't really a comedy. It was kind of a combination of the two. I don't see a lot of doc comedies, so I don't know. I thought it was really worth seeing. Out of 10, maybe 7.5 or 8 out of 10. It was definitely on the better side. It was worth my time. It was worth my money. I would definitely get out there and see it. Also, just side note, I'm not being paid by the Daily Wire to say any of this. They don't know who I am, but I still felt like it was important enough to get out there and speak about it and let you know if you haven't seen it and you're looking to see it, that you should go see it. So yeah, let me know what your thoughts are on the movie Am I Racist by Matt Walsh. Let me know what you think of the Daily Wire. Feel free to leave any comments you have. If you disagree with anything I said, feel free to say that as well. Happy to have a conversation. I can be wrong, but just sharing my opinions with you. But I think that's where we'll end it. So sorry if I got on little rambles and tangents and didn't really focus too much on the movie. I hope this doesn't count as clickbait. This is just my opinions and my feedback and my thoughts of the movie. And the movie really triggered these thoughts and these opinions and me vocalizing them. So I don't think it was clickbait, but sorry if you feel that way. Anyways, hope everybody has a good rest of your day. Thanks for watching. Bye.